Ok, vamos a ver, porque pues necesita, es su primera vez creo aquí en el país, él nos dirá, pero es la primera vez en el escenario WebCongress. La empresa que él representa desde California se llama Outpost Capital, su nombre es Ryan Wang. Por favor, le dan un aplauso muy fuerte a Ryan.
Damos la bienvenida a Ryan Wang, Founding Partner, Outpost Capital.
Yes, please. Wow. Amazing morning, right? You know, when I was first invited by Owali, I didn't expect this. You know, they this kind of production quality, a full house, and also the vibe. So yeah, let's give another round of applause for Owali and the amazing WebCongress team. Oops. Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Wang. I'm the founding partner of Outpost Capital, and we are a Silicon Valley-based VC firm focused on frontier technology investments. So for the past decade, we've been making investment in spatial computing, artificial intelligence, robotics, and blockchain sectors. Before I start this today's session, I'd like to share a little bit about my personal journey. You see, before I started working as a VC, I used to be an investment banker in New York City. And my first employer is Citigroup. It's a company with over 200,000 employees worldwide. And in 2015, when I moved from New York City to San Francisco and work as a VC, I would start to work in very small teams, right? With Outpost Capital and with different startups. I think on average, the team size is around 10 people. And then the COVID happens, right? And we remember what's happening in the COVID. Web3 is on the rise, metaverse is on the rise. And I turned myself into a Web3 avatar in the metaverse, right? And I can get a lot of things done just as one person. So, you know, jokes aside, here's the thing. Companies are getting smaller and smaller. And there are data to show this point. According to Bank of America, for S&P 500 companies, per every $1 million revenue generated, the number of employees required for each of the company has been constantly declining. And that's a good sign, right? That means the productivity has been rising. And there has been a history. It's not new, right? There has been a history of small companies being able to deliver a lot of values. For example, Instagram here, when it's acquired by Facebook in 2012, it's a $1 billion company with only 13 employees. And you can calculate the valuation per capita is around almost 100 million. So that's already pretty good. And when Facebook acquired Instagram in 2014, the acquisition price is $19 billion. And their employee count, only 55 employees. So it's not new. There has been a history of small companies able to deliver a lot of value. So that got me thinking, right? What's the highest value per capita company on earth as of right now? Well, to be honest, I don't know the answer to this question, but I'll give you a few of my thoughts, right? Look at this company, Tether. I think a lot of you heard about this company as well. They are the issuing company for USDT, right? And currently they have over 100 billion USDT in circulation. And the last time I checked, there are less than 100 employees with this company. And if we go down this rabbit hole a little bit deeper, a little bit further, Federal Reserve with $9 trillion on their balance sheet, right? So that could be a suspect in our educated guess. And let's not forget about this man, Mr. Satoshi Nakamoto, the inventor of the Bitcoin. Who knows who he is and what he is? But I think that's another candidate for our highest value per capita company out there. If we stretch this idea further and further down the road, where do we get to? I think it's safe to come to one conclusion, and this conclusion was recently made known to the public and getting a little bit viral by Mr. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. Recently, in an interview, he said publicly that we are getting very, very close to a one-man unicorn. A one-man unicorn. And it's not a matter of whether it's going to happen or not. It's more like a question of when it's going to happen. And now, if you may, I want to challenge you with a different question. Think about a one-man unicorn. How is it going to happen? If this is something that makes sense, right? How is it going to happen? So let's take a moment and picture a $1 billion company that is fully funded, fully developed, fully operated, and executed by one person. What that look like? Right? So some of you may picture something like this, a company just go exponential growth. And some of you might picture something like this, right? When I asked ChatGPT, that's what it pictured to me. But I think, when we think about this problem, a good approach to decode this problem is to figure out certain approximations, right? Certain similarities in real world example, and try to close the gap, try to one step at a time, and to reach to this one-man unicorn idea. So let's get started. A lot of you heard about this book, right? The Lean Startup. How many of you have heard about this concept? Okay, great. So basically, the Lean Startup is that for startup, we always have limited resource. We always have limited capacity on what we can do. So a startup need to operate in the most lean fashion in order to have the most outcome. And if we think about one-man unicorn, it has to be a lean unicorn to get started. And what's a feature for a lean unicorn? Well, the company itself has to be scalable business, right? As we all know, in the venture capital world, scaling law is one of the fundamental theses. You have 100 users today. You want to get to 100 million users by tomorrow. And also, we need a good ARR, right? Annual recurring revenue. I'm just putting 100 million here, but you don't have to reach 100 million. Sometimes I think 50 could do the work. Sometimes if you have 10 million ARR, but you can justify it with your user base, your retention rate, you can justify a $1 billion valuation. And lastly, workflow automation. Ideally, you don't want to repeat the process, right? You want to build a product. And that's pretty much it. And you can just update the product once in a while. So now we have our first set of filters here. Between B2B and B2C, probably the first one-man unicorn is a B2C company. And it shouldn't work on something on the hardware side, because hardware is hard, it's tangible, and you really need a team to work on that. And also between product and service, most likely you are leaning on the product side, because again, we want to automate the workflow. And now let's try to, after we have the first set of filters, now let's try to convert our lean unicorn into this one-man unicorn, right? So where do we get started? Here is a list of sectors right? That a lot of companies are in, from enterprise to biotech to energy, semiconductor manufacturing, right? So take a look at this list, and out of all the companies in this list, which sector have we already seen a one-man army, a one founder that has been able to operate like a company? And I think the answer is pretty obvious. It's a creator economy, right? And we are all familiar with this. So in this digital age, we all follow someone, whether it's Elon Musk or podcast hosts like Lex Friedman or Joe Rogan, right? We all follow someone. And sometimes, these individuals are not even humans, right? So this is one of my portfolio company developed a virtual influencer called Lisa. And this is my favorite digital artist, Nina Ninocens, who's here today, and she will give an awesome presentation tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But the point is, these individuals, they operate like a company, right? So they have their own book, they have their own balance sheet, their income statement, their cash flow statement. They already operate like a company. So they are a one-man army. That's what I mean by saying the creator economy. We have seen all these successful cases of one-man army. So with this concept, I think we are one step closer to our one-man unicorn idea, right? And if we look at the market, it's also a booming market. According to Goldman Sachs, by 2027, it's going to be $500 billion market. And the year-over-year growth rate is between 20% to 30%. So it's a fast developing sector. And moreover, remember the first set of filters that we previously defined? Creator economy fits everything here. So B2B versus B2C, more leaning towards B2B and more software-based and more product-based, right? So it checks all the qualifications to be a lean unicorn. So I think now we have the first set of the understanding on what the first one-man unicorn could potentially look like. But just looking at this, it's not enough to fulfill the equation, right? Something still feels missing. So what's missing here? Let's go further. Okay, now we have the lean unicorn. This is the organization chart look like, right? Let's say I'm the CEO and I'm already running my startup really, really lean, and this is my team, right? And my goal is not to maximize the business. My goal is to become the first one-man unicorn. What should I do next? I should come over to my CTO. I should come over to my CMO, COO, and say, guys, you are fired. Go away, right? That's how I can make my company a one-man unicorn. I need to trim down all the teams. But here's the challenge. If I fire the CTO, if I fire the CMO, who's going to do the technology for me? Who's going to do the marketing for me, right? So I think the solution in this AI age, there's a beautiful solution for us. Welcome to the AI agent. And most of you have heard about the AI agent, right? Okay, I see a few hands. So if some of you have played with products like ChatApps or AutoGen, you are familiar with this concept. But for most of you who are not familiar with this concept, let me use one of my portfolio company as example. It's called the Fable Simulation. So they are one of the first company to generate an official South Park episode fully using AI, right? And the video kind of got viral, right? And even Elon Musk have joined the discussion and tweet about it and discuss about it. And also, there's a trick here. So the way we can get Elon Musk start talking is we make Elon Musk a character in this episode as well. And that turned out to be a really interesting case um, for marketing hacks, right? The ego play always work out. But jokes aside, here's how the system works. First, we build out a simulation, right? So we use a South Park asset to build out this simulation, and then we deploy each of the characters who have unique background, unique personality, and unique behavior in this simulation, right? So each of the characters here is each of the AI agent, and then we hit the play button, and each of the characters, each of the AI agent are now able to start interacting with each other, start to have conversations with each other, and that's how we build the stories. That's how we generate the episodes. So that is a multi-AI agent simulation. And if we go back to our discussion, right? Currently we have this lean unicorn. We need to fire our CTO, CMO. What's next? Okay, now we can replace everyone with AI agent. We can deploy a technology AI agent to be my CTO. We can deploy a marketing AI agent to be my CMO, right? Okay, great. Problem solved. So now we have this equation, right? Lean unicorn plus creator economy plus AI agent, and now voila, we have our first one-man unicorn. You see, here's the thing, right? One-man unicorn, if you think about it, it's a beautiful thing because that means we have such a tiny team. And having such tiny team means a lot of benefits. When the team gets smaller and smaller, that means the communication is becoming easier. There will be fewer meetings. There will be fewer office politics, right? Less decision-making time, quicker decision-making, and also everything that's related to human, from hiring to firing, onboarding, cultural alignment, performance review, right? We can trim down all of that. So productivity goes way up, and also the cost goes way down, right? So that's a beautiful thing. And if we do a human versus AI performance test, right, we find that human performance has much higher volatility compared to AI, right? Today I wake up, I feel good, I can get a lot of things done. Tomorrow, right, I have a hangover, I party too much, right? I feel tired, my pet lost, right? I feel sad, so I will have an unproductive day. But for AI, it's very reliable, right? So it can be very, very good employees. And also the other thing is that in this AI age, the hard skills have become less and less defensible, right? Those kind of skills that kind of take a lot of repetition to master. It's easy for AI to do 1 million repetitions, right, to learn about things, but it's really hard for human beings, right? So hard skills are becoming no longer defensible for human beings. And now, what's the value of human? So if you were the CEO of this one-man unicorn, and if we zoom in the CEO, right? What make the CEO, make this one man so unique that his work is not able to be taken over by AI? What kind of value does this one man put on the table? Is it art and creative? Well, we'll see what's happening. AI has been doing really good generating new images, generating new music, right? So AI is good at that. And some people say, oh, it's feelings and emotions because AI are still machines. They don't have a soul. They can't feel things, right? They can't understand love. But we as humans, we can understand feelings. But if you have talked to ChatGPT with a voice app, although AI don't really understand it, they can fake it, right? The fake function is really, really good. And someone told me, hey, it's, decision making at executive level. And I was like, really? Do you really think humans are better than AI at data driven decision making? And AI is less rational than human being? Come on, guys, right? So, what is it? I think we should bring this question back to the core of AI, right? And look, AI can be very, very complicated, but from the architectural perspective, it's not that complicated to understand. Look at this full graph. If you can have a good understanding about what's going on with this full graph, you already understand AI better than 90% of people out there. So neural network, input layer, output layer, you have hidden layer, right? And then with the transformer architecture, that's a foundation for LLMs, right? You just need to understand, positional transcoding and also, vector database. For image generation with diffusion model, and also for technologies like deepfake, you have architecture like GAN, right? You have generator and discriminator. They're competing with each other, right? So the logic of AI and architecturally how AI works is not that hard. It's pretty straightforward. And the core is AI is a learning machine. It's a learning machine. It's a machine that's constantly learning. And if we look at things from a very different perspective, right? When we as human beings versus AI, we live in very different version of reality. While God defined how we as human beings experience the world, God gave us eyes so we can see things, give us ears so we can hear things, right? The way how AI experience their world, experience their version of reality is defined by human being, right? So that's our advantage. Another way to look at it is through this knowledge graph. Out of all the knowledge in this world, there are structured knowledge that's well documented. This is the best data you can take over to train your AI model, right? And on top of that, we have documented knowledge, but unstructured data, right? These are a little bit harder for AI to learn, but it's still accessible. And then we have undocumented knowledge, right? Those are much, much harder for AI to access because these are undocumented. And uh, and on top of that, we have the unknown, right? A lot of things that we haven't even discovered, right? We have the realm of the unknown. And why do I point this out? The thing is that AI is a learning machine, and AI is only as good as the type of data we feed to them, right? So the thing is that we as human beings, if we think about the previous chart, AI is much better in the wider area, but whenever we go darker, AI will perform worse and worse. So where human can excel and beat the AI is at the outlier, right? So the outliers in the human will beat the AI at the frontier. And you might be asking why this matters, right? Why do I care? Well, as a Silicon Valley venture capitalist, the number one question I got asked again and again and again is, what's your investment criteria? How do you select startups, right? And we always have answers of the stereotype of answer. We look into the team, we look into the product, we look into the technology, we look into the addressable market, right? And somehow we come up with some kind of equation to calculate the valuation and to generate a yes or no answer to whether we take a leap of faith in this company or not. But here, I think we have a new criteria. That is, we are really looking for the outliers. right? We are looking for those human beings who think differently, who can venture into the unknown, and who can capture these invisible opportunities. And what are some of the invisible opportunities, especially in the creative space, right? In the media space? Well, we all, throughout the past year, we all see how AI has reshaped the media space, right? From, content generation, as we talked about before, to how it's reshaping how we as human beings interact with the content, interact with the media, right? There are a few viral AI girlfriend, boyfriend apps, so emotional support. And also in the gaming space, AI can be used to bring intelligence and to bring, a more dynamic conversations to the NPCs, right? The non-playable characters. But how about we go one step further, right? What if we go one step further and try to figure out, what are some of the sectors that not too many people have been working on, have been discussing about, right? So here's one example that's kind of my favorite. Spatial AI. That's the intersection between AI and spatial computing. So most of you have heard about the AI, the spatial computing devices like Vision Pro or Meta Quest, right? Yeah, you guys are familiar with it. Now, in the consumer data world, briefly speaking, there are two types of data, right? One, I call it functional or logistical data. The way you understand this is that just like how you use your smartphone every day, you have your search history, you have your transaction record, right? You have your location, geolocation information. So those are the logical and function data. And another set of data is really your behavior data, right? Who you are, and what kind of behavior you have, what kind of a mood you are in today. Are you happy? Are you sad? Right? To describe who you are as a human being. And for a long time, with the existing technologies, right? Smartphone, laptop, tablets, the majority, over 90% of the data set has been functional data. And on the behavior data side, right, this set of the data is not available to us. But when we go to the next stage, in terms of our media revolution, when we have entered a stage of, spatial computing become the new norm, right? And devices like the Vision Pro, the Meta Quest, the AR glasses becoming part of our everyday life. What's going to happen is all of a sudden the new set of behavior data will become available to us, right? With all these technologies around motion sensing, facial tracking, biosensors, right? Eye tracking. Now we can understand who you are. We understand whether you're happy today, whether you are sad today. We can detect where you are looking at, right? We can capture your attention, and we can have all this data available to us. So when we enter into that world, right, what kind of intelligence can this set of the data unlocks, right? If you think about it, it's both fascinating and also dangerous because the system might just know a little bit too much about us. With just the logical data, we already feel like, oh, it's I need to worry about my privacy. But with the behavior data, the things, the whole experience is going to be taken to the next level. And that, my friend, is example of another frontier, right? Is that one step forward. It's an outlier opportunity. So again, there are known knowns, there are unknown unknowns, right? We should really start to look into the unknown unknowns. And I think, to kind of conclude my session, I think everyone in this house, we are very lucky because, we live in such an interesting time, right? Not only the AI technology, but many, many, many other different technologies from genome editing to robotics, from renewables to VR, AR, spatial computing. Every of this technology is quickly reshaping our world. And in this new era of AI, I think we should have a new definition of creativity. So if you're an artist and you keep on, producing new arts, right? That's not being creative anymore. Creative in this new AI era means that we need to venture into the unknown unknowns, right? We need to discover what's not discovered before. We need to be the outliers. And as a new artist, right, what you should do is being creative means that maybe we should invent new art style, right? Because for existing art style, AI can learn that pretty quickly and can reproduce similar arts and their similar art style. We all see that happening. And being creative for a musician means we might be able to create new music genre, right? And for storytellers out there, maybe we can tell stories from very different perspective, right? And for the engineers out there, that means we should discover the unknown domains. And for all of you founders, entrepreneurs out there, we should come up with new business model, new product category, new marketplace. So I think, for my session, if you forget everything and just have one takeaway, that is to be truly creative, to go onto the edge, to become the outlier, right? Let's, explore the frontier. Let's go into the unknown, and let's discover, let's capture the invisible opportunities. So with that, my friends, let's be creative. Thank you very much, everyone.